Hey there, welcome to Million Dollar Marketing. I'm your host, Jody Sedini, and today we are going to dive into a fascinating conversation about the power of storytelling in marketing, especially in the world of Facebook ads. My guest today is someone whose journey is truly a masterclass in turning ideas into platforms for influence. From national TV appearances to creating movements, Sherry Ward is the dynamic CEO of SquareTree Publishing and Productions and the founder of the Christian Creators 360. With over a decade of experience, she has helped countless authors turn what if into look what God did. Known for her work on Good Morning America and as an executive producer for not only one, but two sci-fi thrillers, Sherry expertly blends industry savvy with her heart. She believes books aren't just words on a page. They're launching pads for people's destinies, even if they sometimes miss a deadline or two. Sherry, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited.
I am too. Thanks for inviting me.
Of course, my pleasure. And I think our viewers are really going to love this too. So let's start with something that I know our audience is going to resonate with, and that is the art of storytelling. So in marketing, storytelling is more than just a buzzword. You and I know that. It's
Right.
what captures attention and actually drives results. So you've turned storytelling into a superpower, especially for authors and creators. Can you just share a bit with us about how your process works and how you've seen storytelling transform marketing campaigns?
Storytelling is where it's at because we get hit with like, buy my book, buy this, buy my service, buy my coaching program. But when you tell stories, people start leaning in. And it's when they lean in that then you could offer what you're going to offer. But you need to tell a story first. And I think there's differences in the way you tell a story. Have you ever read a story or somebody wrote a story and you're reading it and you felt like it was like, look at me, look at me, look at me, versus I'm bringing you into this story to show you about you, about you. You're making that connection with them saying, hey, look, this is what I've learned through my story that can help you. It's a subtle difference, but you can feel it as people are writing that story when they do that.
I agree. That's such a powerful example. It is really, really true that great stories written in the right way, they create that emotional connection that stands the test of time, really. I've seen that in Facebook ads as well. Those like authentic story-driven ads that outperform like the salesy bro marketer. Like I'm so
Yeah,
anti-bro marketer.
me too.
What would you say is like the key to crafting a story that resonates in an ad, for example?
I would say I always use my own examples and stories in my own life because you tend to attract who you are. So chances are your niche audience is close to who you are.
I
And if you're
agree.
true to who you are and true to your own stories, I'll give you an example. One of my authors, Jeanette Peterson, she's one of my all-time favorites. She is writing the most amazing copy right now on Facebook ads. I literally boxed her this week and said, girl, you're killing it. Like, she's like, well, God just woke me up and it's like downloaded. I'm like, you're killing it because, she is a vet. She has served in our military. She is not the beauty girl that has the big lips and the full makeup and the whole like extensions of the hair with the long nails. And like nothing against that if that's where you're at, but like that's not her. She's like the warrior princess, she just is gorgeous, but she's just got this warrior thing. And I said, when you start writing copy and I want you consistently in all your mediums, like Facebook ads, your organic reach, your blog, I want you to include stories from the military because that's who you are. And people, it can easily translate into other things in people's lives that they're fighting through. But your military background lends itself to a lot of storytelling and a lot of what I call fodder, material that you can glean from your own life. And so she's going to start doing that more and more and more, which I'm excited to read her stuff. So,
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. So speaking of Facebook ads, I know you've yourself had an interesting journey stepping away from ads, stepping back into ads. Tell me about that. Like what's brought you into ads and out of ads and what challenges have you faced in like restarting your campaigns?
When I first started with one of my authors, we were launching a ministry called Hurting Moms. And so it's women that have kids on drugs and alcohol or anything else that makes the mom hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And as you can imagine, that's a huge pain point. So we created some videos. We picked the one that did the best. And then we just started running consistent ads to it the whole time. And we didn't put a ton of money into it. We were just consistent. And in 4 years, she had 5 million views on that. And it completely launched her.
Yeah.
So it wasn't some big, crazy ad campaign. I've been in the ads game with large amounts of money. I've gotten out of the ads game and I'm trying to get back in. So one of the things I think I would have done differently is been in the ads game consistently, even if it wasn't high ticket. I
Mm-hmm.
would have consistently stayed in the ads game because of what I've seen with her and just our own company. I think I would have stayed in the ads game and not gotten out.
That's such a great point. I would say like in and out is sort of like getting stuck in the rush hour traffic, right? You're stop, start, and you feel like you're not really making any progress versus just going straight down the highway without any traffic in the way. I think there's absolutely value in making sure that you're spending your budget wisely, right? Because also spending a very small budget can be like driving with the parking brake on, right?
Yeah,
So
that's true.
there's a balance there. But if you can keep ads running and sort of keep a warm audience, keep your ad account warm, things like that, especially even a small budget when your copy and your creatives are on point can be super effective. So I agree with that statement of maybe keeping them on just to keep the ad account warm, keep that spending and just take some of your organic content and amplify that a little bit. Do you have any advice for someone who might have big goals but would be working with a limited budget with their like copywriting and using their storytelling in their ads?
I would test out organically what is working first and then start putting money towards it. I think if you have a small budget, I think that might be a way to go because it's so easy nowadays to test things to see what people are resonating with, pay attention to the comments, see if the way that you worded something or a hook that you did is working, I think, and then you can lean into spending money on those ads and get a further reach on it.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that's great advice. All right, I want to segue here into another section of our chat here because you've done an incredible job of combining your faith with family and business. And in my opinion, that's a balance that's really important. And I know that that's a balance that's really important to the people that listen to this podcast as well. These people that listen are typically all along that same thought process. So how has that alignment and balance influenced your success as a CEO and as a marketer?
The question I get asked a lot, and I even got asked a couple weeks ago from our shared mentor, is are you front facing in your faith? Basically, are you a business owner that's a Christian or are you a Christian business owner?
Mm,
And the answer is yes and both.
mm,
So I just unapologetically, this is who I am. I don't cram it down people's throat.
mm-hmm.
I think just being authentic and very, very much staying away from the Christianese talk, the words, and making things very practical and accessible. Even creating your own language and your own words, your own vocabulary, like just being unique in that and not using language that would distance people. Like there's a lot of language we use that I call Christianese that just, yeah, it's like the secret language we all have. But I like just everyday language and breaking it down to be simple and not as religious sounding.
Yeah.
So those are some of the things that I do.
I know also you're married and you have a family.
Yeah.
How has that been like balancing all of those responsibilities of like CEO, mom, wife, all that?
It's tough sometimes. I'm going to be real honest. My daughter came and she's now living with us with a baby and a 2-year-old. So now I'm juggling that. So just my biggest thing now is boundaries. It's like, okay, when I'm in work, I'm in work. And when I come home, I'm home. But before I used to really meld the two of those, and I'd be working late at night or take a phone call or take an email or whatever.
Yeah.
I try not to do that as much anymore. I have to every now and then just because of practicality, but I try to really like when I come home, I'm home and separate the two of them. And it's been a lot easier now.
I totally resonate with that. And I try to practice that as well of like when I'm in my office, I'm going to focus on work things versus like when I'm outside of my office, I'm going to dial right into my kids and my family and have that focus time with them. But also like if Slack comes up with a notification and I'm like, oh no, something's on fire, I might have to step out for a minute, right? So
That's funny.
it is that balance. My goodness.
I did notice a huge difference too when I had a home office versus an outside office. At the outside office, I got more done and at more concentrated time. And by the end of the day, I was kind of like, okay, I'm fried. I'm done anyway.
Yeah.
So it was easier than just stepping out of the boundaries of your house home office.
Mm.
And I'm a real good delegator. I'm a good, multitasker. Like I thought I was doing it really well until I stepped out of my home office. And when I went to get a real office, if I could call it a real office, like it made a difference. It was very surprising to me that when I got home, I just wanted to be home because I was in the office all day.
Yeah. Interesting. I like being home too much. I'm not sure I could do a away from home office, though, my kids are getting older, so it may be a stage of life I could do. I don't know. Sometimes I think about it and I'm like, it would be so nice to just be like gone and like do all the work and then come home. And it's like a very linear separation,
It
right?
was. It's really surprising. It very much surprised me because I'm a really good balancer and I can balance things and I can multitask like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah.
But it was just really interesting the difference.
Yeah. Wow. I love all of that perspective. Okay, so before we wrap up, I want to talk about the upcoming Christian Creators 360 conference. I know our audience would love to hear more about what you've got planned and how they can get involved. So, like, give us all the deets and also make sure that they know how to sign up and everything that's included. I just want to hear everything about it.
Everything about it. So usually in the Christian realm, whenever you hear about a creative conference, it's usually worship leaders. So we decided to do something for what I'm calling the business creatives. So it's for entrepreneurs, podcasters, authors, anybody, content creators, like anybody more in the business creative side, that's a Christian. And it's going to be held in Orlando, Florida in January of next year. And so I'm really excited about it. We have 17 different speakers coming and a lot of them are on panels. So we have 4 pillars. We have income, impact, influence, and innovation. And each panel has different, we're focusing on different things for each panel. But some of the things that have happened with these speakers and especially my authors as well is after they gave God their yes, the wild things that have happened. And they're all going to be talking about that, like what happened after they gave God their yes. Like one of them got to speak to the United Nations. One of them got in government. One became a lobbyist. Like all this crazy stuff of doors just opening that they never saw coming. And it wasn't until after they gave their yes. So we've got a lot of incredible stories. Julie Chanel is coming as one of our speakers. So I'm pretty excited about that. And I'm co-founding this with Heather Rawson, who is from the National Association of Christian Women Entrepreneurs. I hope I said that right. So it's
I think
NACWE for
so.
short. Yeah, I know. It's like really long. NACWE for short. So there's a lot of fantastic people coming. So we would love to see you there.
Speaking of fantastic people coming, I'm coming.
Yeah.
I will be there. And one thing that I want to make sure our listeners know too is this is a conference next
Within
to a
a conference.
conference,
Yeah,
with
within a
conference within
conference.
a
Yeah.
conference. This is within the realm of Podfest, which is
Yes.
in Orlando, like at the same place, same time, all the things. And so when you purchase your ticket to this conference, it includes a ticket to Podfest. And I
Yes.
was like, well, I was already planning to go to Podfest and I want to be a part of this. So of course I want both. And it was just absolutely a no-brainer for me. So they're going to be there. And I'm a Christian creator. So like it's totally
So
made sense for me. So that was one of the other reasons why I wanted to have you on here, is because I wanted to be able to promote this conference for you, because I think this will resonate really well with my audience. So if you're watching and you want more information about this, I will make sure that we post a link to sign up and get your ticket in the show notes or in the description of the podcast. Or if you're checking it out on my website, there will be a link around this video somewhere so that you can get your ticket and sign up. I know that the date is approaching. It's only, a handful of weeks away.
right.
But I
Right.
just signed up last week and there was, I got my hotel booked and all the things. So, and my flight wasn't terrible either. So I got in at a good time.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a two tickets for the price of one, basically. And
that's awesome.
Podfest is all week. So the first day of Podfest is the Christian Creators event, the conference, and then every day after that is Podfest. So you
Okay.
just can't go wrong. And there's a ton of meetups. There's over 3,000 people coming to Podfest. So it's huge. It's one of the largest podcasting events in the
Yeah.
US. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Sherry, this has been a really, truly insightful conversation. And I've loved every connection that you and I have had, whether it's in person or over Voxer or here on this podcast. So I really appreciate you being here. And I just want to say that your expertise in storytelling and marketing has really inspired me. And I know
Well,
that our audience will feel the same after they've listened to this episode. So thank you so much for joining me today and for sharing your wisdom.
thank
So for
you.
everyone listening, make sure that you check out the Christian Creators 360 conference and connect with Sherry through SquareTree Publishing. We'll have all the details linked in the show notes. Until next time, this is Million Dollar Marketing, your guide to building profitable systems that scale with heart.